Sometimes I go in a room and I realize I'm worried about how I'm perceived, how everyone's going to look at me. How's my, does my mustache look good or not? I shaved it off though. So walk us through like what kind of inner work do you do regarding that, or because you're a coach and you're
absolutely.
So
and I'll tell you, I do this. There are a series of things I do before I take a sales call, before I meet with a client, before I am holding space at an event, before I'm even, just going out to do something, whether it be networking or go dancing, whatever it is. I'm always trying to set my intention and connect with who am I being in this room. So I'm not mindlessly going places, if that makes sense. I'm not just taking calls to take calls. I'm not just creating content to create content. I don't do things mindlessly. Everything I do is with purpose and with intention. So I'll give you an idea. Before I drove here, I had a 13-minute drive on my way. I didn't listen to music. I was just talking to myself out loud. Now, some people will think this is crazy, but this is the inner work that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So when I'm driving here, I'm thinking to myself, I'm so happy and grateful for this opportunity. I'm so grateful for Paul for reaching out and setting this up. I know this podcast is going to help so many people. And then I'll even connect with like, who am I being? Like, I'm going to come from a place of service today. So how can I show up for these people? I'm a thought leader. I'm going to be authentically myself. And I used to overthink. And one of the things I say, like, I can't say the wrong thing. I trust every single thing I'm going to say to you. Mm-hmm. So I didn't come prepared to this meeting. I mean, you didn't tell me the questions to prepare, but I did the inner work to connect with, like, what's my intention with this podcast today? And who am I being? What is my essence? How do I want people to remember me? What is the impression I'm leaving on these humans? So I'm being really intentional with that. And it's my self-image work. Like, I have an audio I've recorded that I sometimes listen before sales calls. There's certain things I write out. Like, I am a person that leads through service. I am love. Every person I meet, I leave with the impression of increase. Like, I focus on serving the person in front of me every single time. So these things, some people might call them affirmation, mantras. For me, it's just, even if I'm not writing it or saying it, it's a moment to really be intentional. So if I'm creating a story or a reel, I'm connecting with, who's this reel for? Why am I creating this reel? How do I want the person who's going to watch this reel to feel? And so that's the inner work, connecting with, who am I? Why am I doing this in the first place? So it's not just doing for the sake of doing, it's doing from a place of intention.
Got it. So it's like living life consciously.
Yes.
And I think that's actually the key, because I was actually talking to someone about this. I think I was talking to Max over here behind the scenes. He's our Jamie, Joe Rogan. He's the Jamie over here.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? Yeah. So I think one of the key things to be like a conscious being is to be conscious not only of like why you're doing things or how you're doing them, but also to basically connect with your why and your purpose. But it's something funny happens when you start living life intentionally. It's almost like something hears and then directs, like puts you forward. And something very clear about intention, actually, I want to say a different way. What you're kind of doing is you're taking all these like different thoughts or ideas and you're kind of tuning them into one channel. And it's kind of like, and as the laser beam is focused, then it's much more likely it'll get its goal.
Totally.
Because if you don't set the attention, you don't know what unconscious intention will take precedence. If
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
And I love that you said it's almost like a channel. That's the way I see it too. I almost look at it like the radio. Like, I want to tune myself so that you're hearing what I'm saying. So right now I'm tuned into the channel of authenticity and service. I'm just being myself and I'm here to help whoever's listening to this podcast. That's the channel I'm on.
Got it.
So it's like the radio station. If you put 103.5, you're going to hear 103.5. If you put 92.5, you're going to hear the music that's on 92.5. So I'm always being mindful of what's the channel, what's the frequency that I'm connecting to?
Yes.
And am I connected on the same frequency that my human can hear me?
that's something very interesting too, because like me and you could be saying the exact same words, and people could hear them completely differently.
Absolutely.
So why is that? And I think it's like because you're tuned in.
Yeah.
And have you ever had the experience where like you hear like one of those sayings that they say all the time? Okay, it's just a cliche.
Yeah.
I don't know, like everything happens for something like this.
Yeah.
And you understand it on one level, but then the way I see, like, you increase your frequency, you increase your vibration, you go through the fear barriers, and you're like, oh wait, that's what that means.
Yes.
Isn't that interesting?